Hi everyone, Aladar here. Welcome back to another World of Warcraft Legion class preview in my series. This one is going to be on the Priest. The Priest, I'm really not sure how I like the changes to the Priest. They're not quite as dramatic as Hunter, but let's get into what they're trying to do with the Priest. Essentially what the developers are trying to do with this class is they're really trying to play on the fact that these priests worship perhaps different deities, and the fact that they get their magic in different ways and they like to use their magic in different ways. So the holy priest, for example, is going to be is basically intended to be a priest where they shun shadow magic and they only want to use holy and all things light, that sort of thing. And so they're going to be basically your primary healer spec. And what they've done is for holy, there's not really a lot that's changed. There's a couple of new abilities that you've got, and it's it's just basically going to be a full-on healing spec. I think this spec is going to be particularly strong in raiding. So if you're a holy raider, or if you're a raider and you want to play a healing class, your holy priest might be a very good place to look. So for example, some of the abilities that they have here, they've got your regular heal and your flash heal. We've already got those. One's faster, costs more mana, but they both heal for the same amount. Your Holy Word Serenity. This is an ability where it's basically an insta-cast on a 1-minute cooldown where it heals you for a huge amount. That 1-minute cooldown can be reduced. We'll get to that in a little bit. Prayer of Mending. It's a powerful prayer that heals up to 5 injured allies. It's a ranged AoE healing spell, essentially, for a strong amount. Your Prayer of Mending is a heal where it's on a 10-second cooldown, and basically you target one player. When they take damage, it heals them, then it bounces to another target. It bounces up to 5 times and lasts a total of 30 seconds after each jump. And it just keeps bouncing around, waits till that person gets healed, and bounces to another person. So Holy Word Sanctify, it's on an instant on a 1-minute cooldown. Releases a miraculous light at a target location, healing up to 6 allies within 10 yards for a huge amount. So this is again going to be a ranged AoE heal on a 1-minute cooldown. So it's going to do a lot of healing. But that 1-minute cooldown can be reduced through other means. We'll get to that in a second here. Renew, it's going to be basically it's going to be like your druid ability. It's going to be a heal over time. So mixed in with the other heals that you've got the ability to do an insane amount of healing with this class. Insane, I should probably not use that word, being that we're going to come to the Shadow Priest in a moment here. Serendipity is a passive. When you cast Flash Heal or Heal, the cooldown of Holy Word Serenity is reduced by 6 seconds. So remember I said that that 1-minute cooldown can be brought down. This is how you do it. When you cast Prayer of Healing and Prayer of Mending, the cooldown of Holy Word Sanctify is reduced by 6 seconds. So again, that 1-minute cooldown can come down. When you cast Smite or Holy Fire, the cooldown of Holy Word Chastise is reduced by 6 seconds. So your Mastery Echo of Light, basically this is a hot that's put onto your direct healing spells. So when you heal somebody with a direct healing spell, it's going to do an additional 25% healing over the next 6 seconds. You got one more ability that they've given out to us. It's a holy specific talent. It's called Apotheosis. It's an instant cast on a 3-minute cooldown, but basically you enter what's called a pure holy form for 30 seconds, and the effects of your serendipity are increased by 200%. So essentially, if my math is correct, if it was an increase by 100%, your reduction would be by 12 seconds. If it's increased by 200%, then that should be 18 seconds knocked off for whenever you cast these heals. So your Serendipity and your Sanctify could be, the 1-minute cooldown can be reduced very, very quickly with this Apotheosis ability. So now we'll move on to Shadow, and Shadow has a new energy called new energy bar that you'll use. And essentially what's going on is it's called Insanity, a new bar. And what Insanity does is when you build it up to 100, you enter a form called void form, and then you drain that 100 insanity that you've already built up by using spells and stuff, or when you're using spells and stuff like that. When you're in that void form, you're doing 30% extra damage. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at the void form here. When you reach 100 insanity, you enter void form, transforming your mind spells into void spells, and your shadow damage by increasing your shadow damage by 30%. While in void form, you gain 2% haste every 1 second. This haste will also persist for 20 seconds after void forms. So it's going to be interesting. How long does it take you to get between void forms? Once you drain your void form, how long does it take you to get back into up to 100% insanity to get back into void form? I mean, if it's less than 20 seconds, you're going to basically have a 20%, or you're going to have this haste buff like permanently. It sounds like, I could be wrong, but that's what it reads like to me. I don't know if you can get back into void form that quickly though, but take a look at the next set of spells and you'll understand that, hey, you might be able to actually get back your void form pretty quick. Void form causes your insanity to constantly drain. We've been over this faster and faster until completely drained in void form, then it ends. Then you have to build it back up to get it back. Mind Flay, you've already got that. It causes shadow damage and it's a 50% snare. While in void form, it transfers into Void Flay, which also extends Shadow Word Pain by 3 seconds. So you want to make sure that you have your Shadow Word Pain already cast upon the target before you're casting Mind Flay, typically. Mind Blast, same as what you've got now, except it generates 15 insanity. It's on a 9-second cooldown. However, when you're in void form, this transfers into Void Blast, which has a 4.5-second cooldown, and also extends Vampiric Touch by 3 seconds. So you want to make sure you have Vampiric Touch also on your target. Now, what I'm wondering is, if you're in void form, are you still generating insanity from these spells, or does it stop generating until you exit void form? It's not very clear on that. It doesn't say that it doesn't. So for now, I'm going to have to assume that these spells still generate insanity. So if you've got a bunch of Vampiric Touches and Shadow Word Pains on people, and they're both generating insanity, are you going to be able to keep your void form for longer than if you had none? Hopefully that's the case. So Vampiric Touch. We've already got this spell. It does shadow damage over 24 seconds. You want to put it on a bunch of different targets. If Vampiric Touch is dispelled, the Dispelder flees in horror for 3 seconds. Each time Vampiric Touch deals damage, it generates 3 insanity. We've been over that. Shadow Word Pain is essentially the same as it is now. Each time Shadow Word Pain deals damage, it generates 3 insanity and has a 10% chance to recoil the cooldown, to reset the cooldown of Mind Blast. So again, that's how you're regenerating your insanity. And you want, again, we have to wait and see if you can still keep generating insanity while you're in void form. I'm not sure how that'll work yet. Oblivion is an ability that's probably going to be a must. It's an instant on a 2-minute cooldown, and essentially it gives you your 100 insanity. So once you've drained your insanity, you can boom, pop this, and boom, be right back into void form. Now, Disc Priest is the one that I'm actually a little bit worried about, and the reason why I say that is because of what they're trying to do with this particular spec. I think it sounds neat, but I'm not exactly sure if it's going to work out, because what they seem to be trying to do is turn the Disc Priest into a hybrid somewhere between a healer or a shielder / healer and a DPSer. And generally for raiding, if you want a healer, you're going to take a healer that heals for a lot of damage, or that heals a lot of damage, or you're going to take a DPSer that can cause a lot of damage. If you're looking for a DPSer, why are you going to take a Disc Priest? If you're looking for a healer, why are you going to take a Disc Priest? With the abilities, I can see a way that you can actually heal for a significant amount while still pumping out a little bit of damage. I think Disc Priest may become extremely good at 1 versus 1. Right now, they're still a pain in the ass to kill 1 versus 1, but they could actually go around and start killing people quite easily 1-on-1 as well, with the amount of damage that they seem to be being given in Legion. So we'll go through them really quickly here. Atonement, it's a new passive. Every time you use Plea, Power Word, Shield, or Shadow Mend, you also apply Atonement to the target for 15 seconds, so pay attention to that. When you deal spell damage, you instantly heal all targets affected by Atonement for 50% of the damage done. So there's a developer comment here that's important to note. Healing is not split between the Atonements. So if you've got Atonement on 5 different people that because you've used Plea, Power Word, Shield, or Shadow Mend on those 5 characters, and then you cast, say, Mind Blast. Yes, you will be able to use Mind Blast as a Disc Priest. You cast Mind Blast on a target, and let's say you do, let's just say, for example, you do 200 damage. Each of those 5 targets will then get 100 damage done, or 100 healing done to them. It's not 100 healing split 5 ways, so they only get 20. They each get the full amount. So that's where I think you will be able to actually be a benefit in a raid. You'll be healing multiple targets for, hopefully. I'm a little bit worried about how it's going to work out, because by the time you cast all these pleas and Power Word, shields, and all that sort of stuff on targets, and then start to do damage, that 15 seconds will have worn out, and your healing isn't going to be as good. So I'm a little bit worried about that. So your mastery is Absolution, or one of them, or your mastery is Absolution. It increases the healing transferred through Atonement by 28%. So that 50% can quickly get another bump of another 28%. So that's, I believe that would be 28% of the 50% too. So we'd have to check the math on that, but instead of, let's see, so it's either going to be 64%, or it's going to be 78%, depending on if it's another 28% of the full amount or 28% of the 50%. So well, I'd have to check. Your defensive ability, Plea, is just a heal, quick heal for a minor amount. Shadow Mend is kind of an interesting new heal. Basically, it's a heal with a dot on the end of it. So you're healing somebody for a large amount, and then it's ticking down every 1 second for a small amount until half the amount that you healed with that Shadow Mend is then ticked off. So it's a 1.5 second cast. Might be good to save somebody and then have to keep healing them as you go up. Power Word, Shield, same that you've already got now. While the shield holds, though, spell casting will not be delayed by damage. So now your Power Word, Radiance, it's a burst of light that heals a friendly target and their 5 nearest allies for a moderate amount. So this is a ranged AoE heal, and applies Atonement to for 50% of its normal duration. So that's another benefit. Now here's your offensive abilities. So they're trying to turn your Disc Priest into, like I said, a hybrid. So here's some of the offensive abilities. You've got Smite, of course. So Smite an enemy for a moderate amount of holy damage. Now you've got Mind Blast. So you're going to be able to blast the target for strong shadow damage. So it sounds like you're going to be able to do a decent amount of damage with these casts, a lot more than just Smite previously. Now Penance is a channeled on a 9-second cooldown. So it launches a volley of light at the target, causing holy damage over 2 seconds. But you can cast it while you're running. So and then you've got Revelation, which is your passive, and your Smite and your Mind Blast have a 30% chance to reset the cooldown of Penance. So, and then you've got your Shadow Word Pain, which you're now able to use as well. So you're probably what you're wanting to do is cast your Mind Blast, cast your Shadow Word Pain, then cast your Penance, wait for the 2 seconds for it to be over. So that's going to be, it's probably going to be a couple of seconds into your Mind Blast cooldown. Then you'd cast your Mind Blast again and hope that your Revelation procced, so you'd be able to use Penance again. I'm guessing that's kind of your offensive rotation that you'd be wanting to use. Now your discipline specific talent, one of them is that they give you is it's this one called Grace. It's a passive. It increases your non-atonement healing and absorption by 30% on targets with atonement. So anyways, like I said, I'm a little bit worried about Disc, but it sounds like it could work out well, or it might not. We'll have to wait and see. I do like the changes to the other 2 specs, but anyways, that's the end of this preview of Priest for World of Warcraft Legion. If you have any other questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. If you'd like to contact me directly, my Twitter is below as well. You can add me there, or you can add me on Facebook, or you can come join me when I'm playing live on twitch.tv/Aladar. The links are all below. Hope to see you there. Thanks.